Biodiversity, the only possible thing that we as humans can protect. It is our only hope for survival. We depend on it for every second it still stands. With our help, we can make our biodiversity a little bit more efficient and prosperous. We as humans are the only people who can protect it, but on the contrary, we can be the perpetrators in our destruction of biodiversity.
Some of the threats to biodiversity are habitat loss, invasive non-native species, pollution, land use change, intensive farming practices, climate change, population growth, and overconsumption. All of these factors could contribute to whether biodiversity will prosper or whether it will deteriorate.
There are several important ways in which humans can slow down biodiversity loss, although there is no way to bring back a species that has already gone extinct. One of the ways is to create a protected area. Creating a protected area is the best way to prevent deforestation and exploitation of organisms and the resources they need to survive. Another way to slow down biodiversity loss is to prevent the introduction of a new invasive species. Once a new invasive species is introduced, it wreaks havoc upon ecosystems that aren't prepared for it. Another big way is to educate everyone about the topic. The more people know about it, the more they will be able to do to protect it.
Ecosystems and their species perform important biological services. For example, green plants remove carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere, which helps keep the environment healthy and fit for human life. Although we still have much to learn about the often complex function of ecosystems and about which species perform critical roles, we know that if an ecosystem is altered in any way, it might not be able to perform some of its important services. Economic arguments also provide compelling reasons for conserving species. Different species of plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms provide us with the food, medicines, fuel, building material, fiber for clothing and industrial products.
Biodiversity. When an area has a large amount of biodiversity, then the ecosystem around it can flourish. It can do this because with biodiversity, the species work together to help each other stay alive. In an area with biodiversity, more species live longer, even if some animals can eat each other. For instance, the plover bird and the crocodile. In a crocodile's mouth, a lot of food gets stuck in between its teeth, and if it is left there, then infection will occur. But the plover bird can eat that food in between its teeth. This ends up being a good meal for the tiny plover bird, and the crocodile can prevent infection. This is called mutualism, when two animals interact and both benefit. Without biodiversity of different species, then the crocodile would get infections and could die at a more rapid pace. This is an example of biodiversity helping out animals. But when an ecosystem has a monoculture, then species will die out more quickly. This is because when disease occurs, then it spreads more rapidly because there is less genetic variation to slow it down. When there is more genetic variation, then it is more likely that the different species will be immune to the disease and so it can stop the spreading. One way that biodiversity can be affected is when a new species is introduced into an ecosystem. When a new species is introduced, it can mess up the food chain. For instance, if a lion has no predators and then a new predator is introduced to the ecosystem, then the lion is not used to being hunted and its population will go down because it is being eaten. This will also cause the prey that the lion eats to go up because there are less lions hunting them. This will then cause a chain of events and could greatly affect the ecosystem.